Okay, kia ora tātou everybody, welcome. I'm Linda Cooper, the Chair of Family Action, and I'll be leading us through our program today. So I'm going to start with a Karakia. So nā mihi o te rā, ki te whānau e hui nei, ki tau te rangamārie, kia whakatapua tātou, mēnā mea, e whakapono o tātou, haumi e hui e tāhiki. So greetings of the day to the whānau gathered here. Let peace be with us and may we respect each other and what we believe. So thank you for joining us today. It's very exciting to have all of you here. So I just want to advise you a few housekeeping things that we'll be recording the presentations to post online on our HealthLink website. The presentations will run through in the order of the agenda. Only one person from each organisation presents. So if there's two of you, some have indicated who that will be and some haven't, but I'll ask you at the time. And if everybody will put their name and organisation on the screen. I mean, lots of you have done this before, so you know the drill, but for anybody new, if you could just put that on, that's great. And presentations will be timed, and as you know, presenters will be muted by the very vigilant Tracy at 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's just so we can fit everybody in, not to be rude in the time frame. And presenters, please, if you want to, put your contact details in the chat box for anyone who wants to contact them or has questions following the meeting. And that's a really good place to put that so people can copy and paste it. And I just invite any health professionals and community RSVPs to raise their virtual hand now. And we'll welcome you en masse. There's at least 9 hospital staff attending and about 5 community people. Raising hands, that's great, welcome. And I also just want to do a special welcome to a new Waitakere HealthLink board member, Samantha Santiana. She's our new youth rep, our first youth rep. So that's great to have her on board with that voice. All right, we're running ahead of time, which is amazing. So when we start the presentations, we're going to start with long-term conditions. So if all of you, that's Diabetes, Disability Connect, Epilepsy, Heart Foundation, Hospice West Auckland, ME Support, Muscular Dystrophy Northern, Neuro Connection Foundation, Stroke Foundation, Wilson Home Trust, and Your Way Kia Roa, all put your virtual hands up. And then you'll come to the top of the screen so we can see you. And just remember to put it down when you've had your turn. And, oh, sorry, you don't all do that en masse, do you? Do it as you do it. So the first one to put their hand up is
we can
diabetes.
Section can put their hand
up. Oh, they can all put their hand up?
And then they're ready.
Then you're ready. Okay, so, all right. So we'll welcome Diabetes New Zealand, Vivian. Yes, Vivian.
Tēnā koutou katoa, my name's Vivian. I'm from Diabetes New Zealand. I'm just going to give you the information that relates mainly to what we have going in the Waitakere area due to the fact is we have quite a bit going across the country. We actually have a couple of support groups that are out there. I think you've had Rebecca attend your meetings before. And she runs these on the first Friday of the month in the morning and in the afternoon in Newall. We are hoping to set up a new support group in Henderson. And this is for people with diabetes, either type 1, type 2 or gestational diabetes, as well as friends and whānau who want to know more about diabetes. They have a range of really interesting speakers and topics that come up that are pertinent to the diabetes community, and they are normally well attended. Rebecca has also set up a walking group that regularly meets on a Monday. So again, exercise is one of the things. If you have a long-term condition like diabetes, you know, exercise is important. So hence why she set up a walking group. And we have coffee groups that are monthly on the first Friday of the month. And the importance of these is for people who don't really want to come along first to a support group, may want to just join a coffee morning and having an informal chat to find out more about you know, just general information. We have a lot of people who ring us who've been diagnosed with particularly type 2 diabetes, and their doctor's given them a lot of information. They've come away with it all, but they don't know what to do with it or where to get help or assistance. Unfortunately for doctors, this is quite a regular occurrence, so they probably have their spiel down pat. So normally, often they get on the phone to us to find out where they can get more information and help. There are also diabetes self-management courses available, which are run by both Comprehensive Care and Auckland PHO. So they run really good programs about if you've been diagnosed with type 2, how to actually navigate that, and particularly useful for those who have been initially diagnosed. Across the rest of Auckland, we have our van has gone out testing again. They're actually out today, but I'm not sure how long they'll stay out because it's tipping down with rain over this way. And we also have a program called HOPE, which is it's a prevention of diabetes program run throughout the Pacific community.
Thank you. Just sneaked in there, Denise. All right, so Vivian, so Disability Connect, Denise. I was getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, sorry, I'm very nervous. But,
it's all right, so we're all friends here.
So I'm from Disability Connect, and we're just a small community-based resource centre for disabled people and their families. Our vision is that people with disabilities and their families are able to lead the lives they want. Our mission is to lead and influence change for people with disabilities and their families, and our core value is to respect and support choice. We cover all age groups from newborn to 99. We offer, being an information service, we offer information and networking to families and professionals. We do phone, email, face-to-face. We have Zoom, WeChat. We have a big website with a lot of information. We have a fortnightly e-bulletin, and we have Facebook. We run seminars on work and income disability supports, planning for adulthood, education legal issues around ORS funding, and stand downs in schools, quite important information. We do workshops around, some we've had around sexuality, positive engagement with the ANASC in Auckland, that's Taikura, path planning for families, setting goals and small steps to achieve those goals for the people that they're supporting. Some of our support groups cover managing anxiety, starting back to school, and behaviour support for children with autism. On our website, there's also videos on micro enterprises, which is part of, you'll see in our transition page, we've got our expo coming up in September 7, where we are expecting over 90 providers to come, employers, and disability organisations.
Okay, that looks like you're done, Denise, but great information. If you can pop maybe your website link in the chat box, that'd be really helpful. Thank you so much. Now, have we got anyone from Epilepsy New Zealand? They indicated they may not be here. No, Catherine's not here. So, all right, so we're next to the Heart Foundation with Jennifer Lean. Welcome.
Morning, everybody. Hopefully you can see me. I'm kind of in a dark meeting room here.
We can see you.
All good. So I'm one of 2 heart health advocates here in Tamaki Makaurau, and my region's Waitakere as well as part of Central Auckland. So my role is to get out into the community as much as possible, raise awareness about heart disease. I attend health days. I hold presentations to community groups. So if any one of you wanted me to come along and present to one of your groups at any point, just get in touch. I'll put my contact details on the screen. I've got a timer going, so I'm like, oh, pressure, to try and get through things. So some of the things that we do to try and engage with people and raise awareness is use some tools we've got. One of them you might already know about, it's called My Heart Check, that's on our website, that anyone can complete themselves. It's a basic screening tool. We also do pulse checks and blood pressure checks. And something else we've got going at the moment, I'll try and share my screen, is our Stand Strong campaign. Can you all see that?
Not, yes, we do.
Yep. Okay. All right. So it's this is one of our campaign posters that we've got at the moment. So Stand Strong campaign. Oh, I'm going to be cut off. I'll share this, guys, with you on the chat.
Thank you so much. And I think I did the Heart Foundation check on the app. Oh no, it was the stroke one. That was it. There's a new stroke app out, developed in New Zealand by AUT, and that was a really good thing to do too. So all linked in there. So now, thank you. We've now got Trish Fleming from Hospice West Auckland. Welcome, Trish.
Hi there, Linda. Kia ora tātou. Lovely to see everybody. Next week is National Hospice Awareness Week. There's lots happening out and around in the hood, and so I'll pop our website details with our calendar program on there. We're out there to bust those myths that hospice is not just for the last days of life. It's not just for people with cancer. It's not just for old people, etc. Instead, we are a free, holistic, 24/7 service aiming to support anybody aged over 18 in our Waitakere area, ranging from Kaipara in the north to the Whānau in the south and across to the Upper Harbour. Any person 18 plus who has a life-limiting condition is eligible to come into our care if appropriate. And so that's a full 24/7 program, mostly caring for people in their homes or residential environments, but also offering services on site at Beach Road and Te Aroha Peninsula. I'll put our details in the chat. We would love to attend any of our Awareness Week celebrations next week, or alternatively, with your organisation about chronic long-term conditions and options for end-of-life care. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trish. You bummed out a little bit there. Well, that's the wrong word. You kind of went a bit blank a bit, but if there's some way you can link us to, you've got a great Instagram account, or to link to those events, that would be really cool. Thank you so much. Kia ora.
Bye.
Right. We have now Natalie Newall from ME Support. Welcome, Natalie.
Hi, Maddie's going to do our little intro today.
Oh, right, sorry. So, yes, we have Maddie Finnigan-Degarnham.
Yeah, kia ora everyone. Nice to see you all here. Just a little bit about us. ME Support is a charity that provides free support to people with ME/CFS and long COVID, as well as to their friends and whānau. We have online and face-to-face support groups that are run regularly, including a new youth support group for those who are still in school. We also provide symptom management support, medical and work and income advocacy, emotional support, and general information to enable those with ME/CFS and long COVID to have an improved quality of life. I'll pop our details in the chat if you'd like to get in touch with us.
Thank you, Maddie. Short and sweet. Now, Muscular Dystrophy Northern, that's Lynn Williams. Welcome, Lynn.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Linda. I'm Lynn from Muscular Dystrophy. I've got myself a list of things we do, guys, this time. I'm a field worker, and part of my role is to support, give information and advocacy for people suffering with some form of muscular dystrophy. Muscular Dystrophy, Auckland and Northern, we offer a lot of things for clients. So we have counselling, 3 paid sessions of counselling. We have a grant application fund. We do camps, coffee groups. We have had midwinter lunches and Christmas parties, but mainly it is around that advocacy, information and support. I attend clinics in Whangarei, in Starship Hospital and also in Auckland Hospital. And every year during the month, the support month, we have a support events. Last year we had the Roll 1K, which was a wheelchair, a roll for supporting people with muscular dystrophy and wheelchairs. We do the Zorb in Rotorua, and we had a picnic in Takapuna at Fab, and then everybody rolled down to the beach to raise money. We do have a rare diseases community that we get together through Facebook and things like that, and Zoom meetings. And we have patient groups. We work quite closely with community OTs, physios, dietitians, actually all allied health support services. We have a website that has all the information on it, more so in-depth information than I can give you today. We have fact sheets, we have a database, and we try really hard to connect people with the same form of muscular dystrophy together as a support group. And we have branches throughout New Zealand, and if you'd like to go to the website, you can find out a lot more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Kia ora, thank you, Lynn. Right, we have Neuro Connection Foundation, Ina, and I don't know how to say your last name, Ina. Is it Chochina or Cochina or Coquina?
Shoshina, like a Chardonnay, or like
Oh, that's easy to remember. Shoshina. Okay, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ina. I'm from Neuro Connection Foundation. We are in Henderson. Basically, we are in Twigland. We are working in a park. We are providing long-term rehabilitation services for people with neurological conditions. Our mission is to empower people with neurological conditions to lead more independent lives through conductive education. Most of the time, our clients, the majority of our clients, they are stroke survivors, but we also have clients with MS, Parkinson's disease, brain injury, and cerebral palsy. The method has been developed in Hungary by Hungarian professor András Peter. It is a kind of like a holistic approach, but we are working in a group situation. Occasionally, we have one-on-one sessions if clients, they need it, but most of the time we are providing rehabilitation services. We are helping these people to be independent. Like after the stroke, we are helping them to get better. With MS, Parkinson, we are just trying to slow down the progress and make them to maintain their abilities. There are different classes. Depends on ability and on the diagnosis. We have classes only for stroke survivors. We have classes only for MS, and we also have a mixed classes. So if you know anyone who need long-term, some of our clients, they have been attending for years and years. So it's a kind of ongoing rehabilitation, and it's good to take the clients, they come and they attend our services as long as they need us.
Thank you so much. And I know people that have had fantastic results from your therapy there. Thank you. Now, next we have Pauline Mitchell from the Stroke Foundation. Welcome, Paula. Was it Paula? Sorry, not Pauline. Oh, you're on mute, Paula. Lovely, thank you.
Kia ora koutou. The Stroke Foundation of New Zealand is a free organisation open to anyone who has had a stroke. We have a winter challenge that is now live, where we're asking people to think about what they love and what would happen if they lost someone they love. The Stroke Foundation are partners with the Brain Health Store, which gives everyone access to the right rehabilitation devices in the comfort of their own home. For stroke survivors, these resources are available for $1 a day. Also, we have our stroke ambassador, Edna Swart, doing great work supporting rangatahi on 0800 WhatsApp. It's New Zealand's only national helpline. For information and support on stroke, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and I'll add all the websites into the chat. Harira.
Oh, kia ora. Thank you, Paula. Right, next we have from the Wilson Home Trust, Felicity. Welcome, Felicity.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Felicity, and I'm the Service and Support Coordinator at the Wilson Home Trust. We support and enhance the lives of physically disabled children, young adults up to the age of 22 and their whānau in the top half of the North Island. So we offer grant funding, information and support, parent and caregiver and children activities. With our grant funding, we do equipment and activity grants, young adult grants, well-being and counseling grants, hydrotherapy, emergency and holidays for the family. If you need more information about this, feel free to give me a call or visit our website. And that is from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, the last of this section is Kim from Waitakere.
Kia ora. Life Unlimited has a new name. In June 2021, we merged with Accessibility, Imagine Better and Journey Together. In recognition of this, we've recently changed our name to Waitakere. Hearing therapy still offers the same service and is free to New Zealanders aged 16 and over. Our aim is to help you to live well with hearing loss. We offer hearing evaluation with a qualified hearing therapist, information on hearing aids and other technology, including available funding options, practical advice and tips with living with hearing conditions like tinnitus, strategies for you, your family and whānau to ease communication, and referrals to other health providers if required. We do face-to-face now, phone and email and Zoom appointments. So we try to cover everything in the lovely environment that we now live in. We currently have 3 therapists servicing Auckland, and we have applications in to try and, for putting into Whangarei and up north at the moment as well, as our lovely therapist left up there earlier in the year. Please check out our website for services, clinic locations and booking appointments. And we're on an 0800 number. Okay, thank you.
Oh, kia ora. Oh, that's great. So now if Kim and Anna will put down their hands, their virtual hands, and we'll move to our mental health and social services. I think you know who you are, but it's Cancer Society, Family Action, Grief Centre, Man Alive, Parent Aid, Problem Gambling Foundation, Real World Living, Te Ata, Whakatautua, Walsh Trust. So if you pop your hands up, and we'll start with, I think we've got Tipene from Cancer Society. Let's see here. Or we did have Fiona, but we were told she wasn't coming. So doesn't look like Tiffany's here. So we'll move on to Family Action with Fiona.
Kia ora tātou. Fiona Anderson here from Family Action. Family Action offers some sexual harm crisis work, family harm work, counselling for people affected by family harm. We offer some group. We have a women's refuge as well. And recently we've picked up some funding to provide some relief for people affected by this floods or cyclone. So we can help people with that, with counselling, and some limited funds for replacement of items they may have lost in the floods. We work Monday to Friday 9 to 5 or 8:30 to 5, but we do have an on-call service after hours as well. And we cover the Waitakere, Waitemata, full wards. People can refer themselves. We can get referrals from the police. Anybody can refer to us. We're very happy to support anybody. Referral can be online or walk-in. And we're a free service. So I hope you would like to use us.
Thank you, Fiona. And it was good to meet you the other day. Right, so we now go to the Grief Centre, Louise Blockley. Welcome, Louise.
Kia ora tātou. It's so nice to be here with you all the lovely smiling faces out there. My name is Louise Blockley and I'm from the Grief Centre. So the Grief Centre, we offer loss and grief support to youth, adults, whānau, experiencing any form of significant loss. It's not just about death, it's loss of any description, and our kaupapa is to assist anyone regardless of financial circumstances to live through loss. So we do paid counselling, but there is also funding available at certain times for certain criteria. Probably two things to remember for everyone on here. We do a whole load of things to do with loss and grief, but two things would be, firstly, loss and grief counselling. That's New Zealand wide, it's in person, online. We have rooms, counselling rooms in West Auckland, which is applicable to this team. And the second thing that we do out of a whole host of things is professional development for anyone working with people experiencing any form of loss and grief. So I think this is really applicable to everybody here. We have fabulous 2-hour webinars online that we run. And they are professional development coming up. We've got working with anxiety, depression, bereavement by suicide, self-harm, eating disorders, when children and families hurt, trauma in the brain, domestic violence, and post-traumatic growth. So check us out at griefcentre.org.nz. Contact me. I'll put my contacts in if you want any more information. And just remember, refer your people to us, anyone experiencing loss and grief, or come to us yourself for professional development to our fantastic, beneficial webinars for anybody here, and actually for yourself and for those that you're supporting.
Sure, and I must say it's very timely, isn't it? Lots of things have been happening in the last few years for everybody and affected probably all of us in different ways. And it's very easy to just say, oh, let's be strong. I've got to get on with it. I'm not as bad as other people. But sometimes just go and have a talk to someone can actually help. And also makes you stronger when you look to look after other people. So
that is true.
Great.
Yeah, that is true. Carer fatigue is a real thing. So yeah, we're here to help with all of that. Even pet loss, which some people don't think of.
Thank you. Well, they are family members, aren't they? Very special family members. Thank you. So I see Jordan's here from Man Alive. Welcome, Jordan.
Kia ora. Yeah, I'm a counsellor at Man Alive. I'm in the youth department. So currently we're looking after boys and men from about 8 to 24 years of age. We have about 4 programs running at the moment. So we've got Boys Alive, which is our 8-week group session. We run that every Wednesday night from 4 to 6:30, and it deals with sort of anger management issues and sort of helping boys overcome and learn how to control their feelings and thoughts and stuff. Another program we run is our Growing Men program. So that's anger management, but in individual sessions with one-on-one counsellors. Then we have our youth general counselling, which is every issue other than anger management. So we can look at depression, anxiety, bullying, sexual abuse, drug and alcohol abuse, parent separation, and even sexual identity sort of stuff. And the last program we run is Boys Alive in Schools, which is a transition program for intermediate year 8 kids who are going, well, boys that are going from intermediate into high school. So it just helps them transition in a nice way. If you needed any more information or prices, definitely give us a call, and I'll post that sort of number and everything in the chat as well.
Oh, thank you, Jordan. That's great. Thank you very much. So we next have Gamita from Parent Aid. Welcome, Gamita. I did see
Good
her.
everyone.
Oh, there she is.
My name is Gamita Prasad. I'm the manager at Parent Aid Waitakere. We are a free service, so we work in areas of West Auckland, North Shore, and some central suburbs closer to the city. We offer short-term respite support to parents and caregivers of children aged 0 to 40. So how we work is we offer practical support in the home, so a little bit of home help, parental coaching, as well as looking after newborns to give mums a bit of a break. And we also offer companionship and linking with other specific care services for those parents who are often socially isolated from family and friends. We've been going on for 28 years. Mostly get our referrals from health professionals at the hospital and community social workers. By offering a temporary respite access to parents and caregivers, we alleviate the stress and channel that into positive and empowered parenting. We get referrals mainly through our website. When we get referrals, we contact the parent, make an assessment before allocating field worker visits. And I just quickly wanted to add that coming up on the May 25th, we have our Pink Ribbon event, So I will definitely be sending out invites for that. So hope to see you, some of you, or all of you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhanyavad Gamita. Now, next we have Shayal from Problem Gambling Foundation. Let me see, Shayal. 3-second rule. All right, I'm going to move on to real world living, and I do see Robin here. Welcome, Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin. I work for Real World Living. We're a vocational day service for people when they're over the age of 16, 1-6, with a disability and a wide variety of disabilities. We are based in Papakura and Penrose, but we have a range of people coming from as far as the Whānau Peninsula all the way to Massey in West Auckland. So the range is huge. We also have a transition service for people when they are leaving school, and that operates across the whole of Auckland for people with disabilities. And we have a whole lot of different activities on site, plus also we're doing a lot of work experience, but lots of things in the community. We have a part of our project is we'll be making little libraries for the community. So we have 41 in the community now across Auckland. So if anyone is wanting one of those, the guys in the workshop, we can make them for you, and it is totally free. We do have a meeting on the 30th of May online, 10 till 12. It's called Collaborate for Transition, and it is for parents, for providers, for tertiary education, anybody who either wants to know about what's happening when a person leaves school, but also the process, and also if you are interested in providing support for people with disabilities. I'll put all the flyers and the information in the chat. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Robin. That's excellent. So now we have Tracy from Te Ata. I haven't. Yes, here you are. Great. Welcome.
Hello. I can't see myself. Not that I need to.
We can see you.
Oh,
we
good.
can see you. So that's good. It's just that there's 2 pages on here. There's a little, if anyone wants to have a look, on either side of the screen, and sort of halfway down, there's a little arrow, and it says 1 to 2. So there's 2 pages of us. So you just move that, and you might be on the other one, but you should be on the front, on page 1, because you've got your hand up. Anyway.
I think I just spotted myself, but anyway. Kia ora, everyone. Called Tracy Cannon Aho. I'm the relatively new coordinator at Te Ata. We are a peer-led and run support, recreation and education centre for people experiencing mental health challenges. So we're a joint venture between Te Whatu Ora, Waitamata and the Trust which run Te Ata. Our aim is to provide a supportive, creative, positive, constructive, useful environment for people experiencing mental health challenges. So we've got a drop-in centre at 52 Keeling Road with, which is a pretty lively environment, pool tables, table tennis. We run programs and classes, and that's expanding all the time. At the moment, we've got a motivational movement class with a dance therapist, art and craft, guest speakers. We have a fair food collection, so people can come and members can come and pick up food here if that's something that they're needing. Slow cooking, poetry, karaoke, and a pool competition. What else do I want to say? So anyone between 18 and 65 experiencing mental health challenges, welcome to come with whānau, support people, whoever you want, just drop in. We've just recently instated some kind of orientation and membership times, so give us a call. I'll put the details in the chat, and make a time to drop in, and then we can sit down, we can show you around. And
thank you, Tracy. I visited down there. It's a real hidden gem in the West for people with experiencing mental health. There's not many places you can go where you can feel supported like that. All right, so next we have is it Argentina from Vakatoa Tour, or do we have someone else? Can't see anybody. All right, we'll move on to the Walsh Trust and the famous Rob whānau.
Kia ora koutou.
Oh, there you are.
Thanks,
Hi,
Linda.
Rob.
Hi. So Walsh Trust provides a range of community-based mental health support services. A lot of them, probably the majority now, are mobile, home-based. Probably the two I just want to highlight this morning, just very briefly. One is our maternal respite and community support services, which are incredibly busy or incredibly not so busy. And that's something we're trying to work through with Te Whatu Ora to try and get a bit more consistency in how that service is used. And the other service I want to highlight is we call it Awhiora, and we're partnering principally GP practices and medical centres where people are referred to us for home-based, community-based support or referral to other agencies for people who are experiencing mental distress challenges in everyday life. Probably the unique feature of that service is also we're able to accept self-referrals, which for us is really, really important because, as you'll all be aware, one of the biggest challenges for mental health services for a long, long time now is for people to be able to access service and support when they need it and locally. So we see that as a small crack in the door, and one that we're trying to open up a lot more. Kia ora koutou.
Kia ora, Rob. Thank you for the work that you do, and thank you to all of you. Now, that was the last presenter for that section, so we're running quite ahead of time. So what I thought I might do, we've got quite a few health professionals with us today. Might just give you an idea. We've got Well Foundation, which is the charity that raises funds for our hospital amenities. Tim Edmonds. We've got Asian Healthline, Inpatient Senior Social Worker Donna Harrett, Patient Experience Erica Fairbank, Patient Experience looking after volunteers, that's Genevieve Campbell Nokongo, Social Worker Hayley Gerondis, and a couple of occupational I just wanted to ask if any of you would be willing to just pop your hand up and say what you value about this opportunity in your practice. No, can't see any hands. So looks like everyone's gone silent. But I'll tell you what, we have had feedback at the end of these that it is really valuable to hear what all of you are saying, because, you know, out west, we have amazing health NGOs doing a lot of the heavy lifting in primary health, and it's great for hospital staff and GP practices to know what's out there so they can refer to you. So it's great. All right, so we'll carry on then. So we've now on to community health, and we've got Asian Family Health Services. So we've got can we just get actually all community health to pop your virtual hands up, and then you'll come to the top of the list, and you're sort of easy there to go. So who's speaking for Asian Family Health Services? Is it Leah or Darcy? It's Miran, is it? Welcome. You've just got to unmute yourself and away you go. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Miran, working in Asian Family Services. Our Asian Family Service was established in 1998 to provide counseling nationwide service, social services, public health education, and various support to all Asians in Auckland. We are running Asian Helpline. Asian Helpline is a nationwide free and confidential services from Monday to Friday between 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Our helpline is available in 8 languages, including Mandarin, Cantonese, Korean, Vietnamese, Thai, Japanese, Hindi, and English. Through the helpline, we provide appropriate counseling support for mental health and gambling addiction. 3 sessions are free. The counseling service is run by Asian Wellbeing Services. AWS provide professional and confidential psychological interventions and tailor-made psychoeducation and therapy workshops. For the South Asians, we have an Asia team to provide culturally and linguistically appropriate support. We are also working with the Apollo Clinic Center in North. There are house improvement practitioners to help and give advice for a patient physical and mental health.
Sorry, Moran, that's the end of your time. Sorry, I'm just reminding people it's 1.5 minutes, and I know it was very exciting because we all got great things to say about our own organisations, but thank you very much. And as I said, anyone can pop there, and they have been, and you see in the sidebar, lots of information there. And any of the people here to listen, happy to get your feedback in the sidebar if you're too whakamā, too shy to speak on here. So thank you, Moran. And the next person is whānau Ola. Who have we got here? Is it Aloha? Don't see you or anybody else from whānau Ola. No. Okay, right. We'll move on to Presbyterian Support Northern Mal Aroha.
Oh, hello there. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, is it you, Sialangi?
Yes, it's I
from the famous
Tuingamala
family. Famous Tuingamala, West Auckland Tuingamala family.
I'm sorry, I wasn't. I didn't realize that I was on or unmute.
No worries. No
yes,
worries. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I am Siulangi Tuingamala, my name. I am one of the social workers of whānau Ola. And whānau Ola's mission is to support Pacific families to be safe and well for a better future. We work with Pacific families in the region of Auckland, and we have a collaboration of services that we provide. This includes services of community connection service, halaora services, social work, youth support program, a parenting program, a whānau program, and also a counseling service that we provide. We have 3 offices throughout Auckland, one in Manukau on Lamby Drive, one in Otahuhu, and another one in central Auckland in Mount Albert. So these services are building financial capability. That is a budgeting service that provides and supports clients and families of Pacific families towards enabling them to become more financially capable. 2 community connection service and halaora service. Another one is social work, as I am part of, a youth support program, a parenting program also.
I think that's your time finished now, Sialangi. So that means you're muted now. Sorry, it always seems a bit harsh, but we won't fit anyone in otherwise. But you're very welcome to put any information in the sidebar, and then people can contact you if they want further information. So, right, we now have Presbyterian Support Northern Mal Aroha. Is someone there from Presbyterian Support Northern? No, can't see anybody. There's not many hands up. So All right, so maybe they've just been very busy yesterday. Okay, so the next is St John Hatohone, Sally Johnson. Have we got anyone from St John's here, Hatohone? No, it doesn't look like it. But if anybody does turn up, just let me know in the sidebar. And next we have, is Samuel here from the Asian Network? No, I haven't seen him. Haven't seen Samuel. He's also a member of the exec board. And so that means we've got a bit longer time for Tavita Funaki from the whānau. Welcome, Tavita.
Malalele and kia ora everyone. Thank you, Linda. Tavita Funaki, I'm from the whānau. I put up actually the list of services on the chat in there, but basically they're summarized into medical services where we have a GP and pharmacy and health specialist services. I want to touch that on our medical clinic now on 411 Green North Road, where we're actually temporary at Estelle, next to Family Action for the next 5 months while we fully renovate the clinic. We also offer dental services, a suite of social services, some public health services, mainly around education, cancer. We've landed a new contract on kahutaurima, so we'll be rolling that up. There's mothers and babies. It's a fully well child service focusing on the first 2,000 days. We are whānau water provider as well, and we've got a fairly local food hubs that have been providing some of the food relief support. And lastly, we've got a training OCA, Oceanic University, PTE, where mainly we were focusing on constructions, but we're just developing our health and well-being programs. So visit us on the whānau.org or 0800 for whānau for you. Let's put it up on the chat. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Tavita. It's great to hear from you. And the whānau have done an amazing amount of work over the last few years, especially with vaccination, on top of all the other things they do. So I want to thank you for that. Now, we next have the Foundation of Minority, and we've got Bo Lee here. Welcome.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Bo Lee. Just give everybody a brief introduction about the Foundation of Minority. This is a charitable trust that was established last year, which is 2022. Is committed to providing mental health services to the ethnic communities in New Zealand. The organization itself is made up of a medical professional GP, a psychologist, a medical strategy planner, and 2 community leaders. Currently, the Foundation of Minority is building a network between the medical clinics and the bilingual psychologists, psychiatrists, and the counselors, and is aiming to provide primary mental health services for minority groups. And beyond of the mental health service, we also offer the agency services for any needs for those with so-called cultural and linguistic diverse communications, which is called in brief, called CALD. It's become very popular words. We are a very new organization. We are just building a network, and we are happy to work with everybody, every professionals, organizations, providing all those kind of mental health services and communication services. Any need, please contact us and visit our website, which is theminority.org.nz. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Bo. All right, and last for this session, but not least, is our Vision West Home Healthcare providers, and it's Fatima. Welcome.
Thank you, Linda. Morena, everyone. My name is Fatima Husson. I'm the Regional Service Manager for Vision West Home Healthcare here in the Auckland region. Vision West Home Healthcare has been in existence for over 25 years. We are the largest service under the umbrella of Vision West Community Trust. And I'll tell you more about the other services that the trust provides. So for now, the home health care provides support to clients all over North Shore area and the whole of West Auckland. And we provide personal care services, home management services to clients, and we have contracts from the Waitamata DHB and the Ministry of Health, as well as some clients under the ACC under our partnership with Solora Home Care. We provide as well private services to clients that are not eligible for any funded service in the community. So for the other services for the trust, so some of you may have interaction already with these services. One is the emergency housing, supportive housing, that's under our housing service. Then we have our counseling center. Then we have support for our whānau in the community with their food that requires food assistance under our Pakatakai program. And then we have our training center for the youth that had fallen off from the mainstream, the Christian Kindergarten Center, the budgeting center, and other community banks. We have like the uniform bag, the curtain bag, assistance. So that's about me. Thank you for this opportunity.
Great work there. So that's the end of all our presentations, and we're running very early, which is kind of good because it means you will have some time that spare now that you had booked in for this. So I'm hoping though that Natalie and Maddie are happy to go ahead with your presentation. We have a presentation on long COVID. You know, this is an increasing complication of COVID that's affecting people in our community. So ME Support are supporting people with long COVID in their whānau to manage symptoms and access services. ME Support have recently released a long COVID support tool consisting of videos, resources on a range of topics, including self-management, working with health providers and accessing services. So Natalie and Maddie, I can see Maddie. Is Natalie back, Maddie?
Yep.
Great. All right.
I'm
So
here.
I'll hand over to you two and you can work your magic.
Morena, I'm Natalie from ME Support. Can you see me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
I'm just going to work on sharing my screen. Just a moment. Excuse my croaky voice. I'm just getting over a bug. Just a minute. Can you see my presentation there okay?
Yes, very well.
Great. Okay. So, yeah, my name's Natalie Newall from ME Support. We were formerly known as ME Auckland, and my colleague Maddie's here also. And we are two client support coordinators for ME Support. And we've recently rebranded because we used to be called ME Auckland, as I mentioned, because we used to focus predominantly on the Auckland region. But during COVID, it became acutely aware there was such a broader need, and we started to get a lot of members from outside of Auckland. So we became an organisation that would support people from outside of Auckland and nationwide. And we also decided, because we'd have this huge need in terms of long COVID, we were already a service provider for ME, CFS and other related conditions, but we added added on long COVID as well. Yeah, so we're going to do a talk today about long COVID and ME, CFS because they are interrelated conditions and very, very similar. So I thought I would talk a little bit about that. I'm going to do a little bit and then Maddie will take over halfway through. So thank you so much for having us here today, Linda and Tracy, and I'll crack on here. So a little bit about us, ME Support, who are we? As Maddie mentioned earlier, we're a charitable organisation and we work to serve, as I mentioned, people with ME, CFS, otherwise known as myalgic encephalomyelitis. We also help people with long COVID and fibromyalgia and other related conditions such as mast cell activation syndrome, MCAS, POTS, dysautonomia, all sorts of related conditions, Ehlers-Danlos, that sort of thing, that quite commonly come through in terms of our ME clients. As mentioned, formerly ME Auckland, and we're a charity that we were formed in 2013 and formally registered in 2014. And we've had a huge membership upsurge, particularly through that sort of COVID lockdown period. It really increased incrementally, and we're now serving over 950 members nationwide, and it's growing steadily, so that'll be over 1,000 before too long, I should imagine. And we've got some sort of growth plans in place too, in terms of providing additional resourcing and staffing and things to support these members. So that's what we're working on. Our job is to provide free support, advocacy, community connection, illness management information to people with ME, CFS, long COVID and related conditions, as I mentioned before. We do not receive any government funding for our services, so we're reliant on funding from other sources and member donations. So we're always looking for different funding sources and things. And we exist to improve the lives of people with these illnesses and their family and whānau, carers and support persons. And as mentioned, we support clients right across New Zealand now, because we do have our online services, and also our client support coordinator service is also available to our out of Auckland members. Obviously our face-to-face groups are localised in Auckland, but that could change at some stage in the future. And we have our online Facebook group as well, which is a community network space for all of our members to connect across the country, as well as our online support groups and things too, which do that. We offer medical information, as I mentioned, emotional support advocacy, work and income advocacy, and advice, as Maddie mentioned previously, and support groups. Need for our services. Research indicates that in New Zealand between 25,000 to 40,000 people living with ME/CFS, and that sometimes ME is known as chronic fatigue syndrome. We find often a lot of doctors will not be familiar, and medical staff, with the term ME. Sometimes our patients find they need to mention the term CFS, which is more an American term, which people have become quite upset with because they feel it doesn't really cover the breadth and depth of the illness. So that's why it was given the more formal name of ME. So we've got a number of clients residing in Auckland, and we don't exactly know the exact stats in terms of people across New Zealand that are living with ME, because these are older statistics that I'm presenting here. ME is a chronic debilitating illness whereby a key symptom is overwhelming fatigue, often triggered by minimal exertion. And one of the key markers of ME, in that it differs from a lot of other illnesses, is that post-exertional malaise, shortened down to PEM, is sort of a defining symptom really, in terms of any sort of activity or stimulation that could even be emotional, mental stimulation, not just physical, such as exercise or movement, can result in PEM, which can lead people into severe illness pressures. And that's where exercise, prescriptions of exercise become hugely problematic for our members, because they cannot cope. A lot of our members cannot cope, and it's been proven by research that exercise is not helpful for patients with ME and long COVID. New Zealand research shows that ME/CFS impacts quality of life just as severely as Parkinson's disease and multiple sclerosis. Often we find that our clients are reporting that they're feeling minimised by the medical providers, and we're trying to raise awareness that ME and now long COVID, which are very similar conditions, are serious in nature and they're not just about fatigue. There are so many other symptoms that come into play, which I'll talk a little bit more about later on. Long COVID is a distinct illness in terms that it comes directly following a COVID-19 infection. And research has found that it doesn't matter how severely the acute infection was in terms of COVID-19, that long COVID can sometimes be a problem following the infection. And so, even if a patient had a very mild COVID dose, they could still end up with long COVID. There's no distinction there. So long COVID is a generalised term described, sorry, my phone's just gone off for some reason. Long COVID is described generalized term describing the ongoing developing symptoms that occur 3 months after an initial COVID-19 infection. And people with long COVID often experience numerous overlapping symptoms that can fluctuate and change over time. And it's estimated that 10% of people who get COVID will experience long COVID. And using current COVID statistics, we equate that over 10,000 people in New Zealand briefly will be affected by long COVID. So we're anticipating a huge growth in terms of need for support in primary healthcare for long COVID. And this is where we want to sort of raise awareness that we're an organisation that's been serving people with ME for a long time, and we have a lot of knowledge base to serve the long COVID community as well as a result. Okay, a bit of background about long COVID. As I mentioned just before, long COVID refers to the long-lasting symptoms following a SARS-CoV-2 infection, and the severity, as I mentioned, is irrelevant. They can still end up with long COVID. Census data in the UK found that the symptoms adversely affected the day-to-day activities of 1.2 million people, so 67% of those self-reported with long COVID. Obviously, this is 2022 data, but it specified that their day-to-day activities had been limited a lot. And we're finding that with our long COVID clients that are coming through, their lives have been tipped upside down in terms of they might have been highly active professionals working full-time. We had a lot of athletes, etc. It was mentioned in some research that had come through by Dr. Anna Brooks, and people that were living very full lives and have now been reduced to a very, very sort of limited life by this illness. And due to illness similarities with ME/CFS, long COVID has been referred to as a sister illness to ME/CFS by Emeritus Professor Warren Tate, who's doing research down at the Otago University, and they're comparing the similarities between ME/CFS and long COVID. He's working alongside Dr. Anna Brooks from Auckland University, and they've found some really, really interesting stuff in terms of the incredible similarities between the two illnesses. And they're running a research program that they've got ME patients, long COVID patients, and control group, and they're looking at different cellular changes and things, and different markers and inflammation markers within the body to figure out if we can find a way to get a biomarker for these illnesses. And particularly, they're looking at that for long COVID and how to more formally diagnose long COVID as well as ME. So at present, there is no diagnostic blood test for either long COVID or ME/CFS, and the method of diagnosis is very similar for both conditions. In relation to a time frame for duration of symptoms being required, those time frames do differ for ME and for long COVID, but also there needs to be the exclusion of other possible explanations for the symptoms. And research is ongoing to understand the causes and effective treatments for long COVID. And I just wanted to talk to but just before I go on to diagnosis in a little bit more detail, talk to some of the similar symptoms across long COVID and ME, because they are, as Professor Tate mentioned, sister illnesses, very, very similar. We have post-viral fatigue syndromes, PVFS, so neurological symptoms, fluctuating illness, i.e. very unpredictable, sort of can have push and crashes, and crashes can be very severe. So it can be very up and down, and that's where we talk to our clients about pacing and the huge value in terms of using pacing to prevent illness severity, sort of, getting worse. Treatment management strategies, it's similar in that there are no effective drug treatments for either condition. There are some approaches that can be used that have been found to be helpful, but there's no specific drug treatment. Risk factors are very similar in terms of it's been estimated that women are up to 4 times more likely to have ME/CFS than men, and a similar ratio is emerging for long COVID. I mentioned post-exertional malaise as well, which is a worsening of symptoms even after any minor physical or mental exertion. Fatigue, which can be a profound exhaustion that is debilitating in nature and worsened by any sort of activity. Muscular aches and pains, and this is where we get a lot of clients coming through with sometimes with a diagnosis of fibromyalgia, but they may in fact have be also suffering with ME symptoms. So some people tend to think that they are very interrelated, and we have some ME diagnosed clients that potentially have fibro, and fibro diagnosed clients potentially have ME, and that sort of thing. So they can be quite interrelated and hard to differentiate between at times. Sleep quality is often poor and unrefreshing, meaning people awake and feeling worse than before sleep. Cognitive dysfunction or brain fog can be hugely prevalent, and that's come through very strongly in the long COVID findings as well. Dizziness and nausea, and gut problems, GI tract issues, or that can get quite problematic for a lot of our clients, and bowel and bladder issues. So those are some of the shared symptoms, and obviously there's a lot more than that. That's just a very, very brief overview. Can be very varied across different patients' experience. Just talking about a little bit now about diagnosis of ME and long COVID, we are seeing they're still very problematic in terms of people being able to get a diagnosis for these illnesses within, when speaking to their primary care provider, such as their GP, etc. It would seem that despite sort of the upskilling and awareness that has been, increased awareness that's been happening, we're still having problematic issues for clients in terms of getting a diagnosis and then needing to go off to a specialist GP or to a specialist to get a diagnosis, which is not always possible, given limited resources of finances and things. There are 2 documents which specify the diagnosis criteria for ME. There's the Clinical Primer 2014, which I've posted a little screen grab there of the diagnostic criteria for ME, and that's available on Health Pathways for any health provider to go on and do an assessment with the patient and see whether they may meet criteria. And for long COVID, we've got the Clinical Rehabilitation Guideline for people with long COVID, and I believe that is also available on Health Pathways as well. The biggest problem that we're finding is, as I mentioned, with the barriers in terms of diagnosis, because research has found that the more delayed the diagnosis, the poorer the outcome for the patient. And so our goal is to shorten that length of time in terms it takes to get people to get a diagnosis, so that they can reduce all of the problems that come with struggling to get a diagnosis. And we find that a lot of our members are reporting they're feeling minimised or gaslit by their medical providers and not heard. So this is where we're trying to sort of educate and raise awareness about the similarities between the 2 illnesses, but also the fact that there are very clear diagnostic criteria, and GPs can in fact diagnose. They don't necessarily need to refer on to a specialist or specialist GP for this, which can be challenging, because Dr. Rosamund Vallings, who was the previous GP specialist in New Zealand, has since retired, and the 2 doctors that have taken over from her and sort of struggling in terms of workload. And they're just being overrun with referrals. So it would be wonderful to see sort of increase in terms of primary care providers doing those diagnoses for our clients. And I think I might just hand over to Maddie now, if that's okay. She's going to take over and talk through the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, Natalie.
Well, thanks, Natalie. So I just want to talk a little bit about potential mechanisms. Do you want to go back up to that other slide, Natalie? Yeah.
All right.
That's all right. So we're not entirely sure of the causes of long COVID or ME/CFS at the moment, but a number of causal mechanisms have been suggested in the literature over the past few years. Some of these include viral persistence. They suggest that long COVID might be caused by ongoing viral infection, and the virus remaining active in some patients long after the initial infection. Secondly is dysregulated immune response. They suggested that it might be caused by the immune response to the initial infection. They found that some patients with long COVID had higher levels of inflammatory cytokines, which are the signaling molecules that cause inflammation and damage in the body during infections. Autoimmunity. They think that maybe it's caused by an autoimmune response where the body's immune system attacks its own tissue. They found evidence of autoantibodies, which are the antibodies that target the person's own tissues. And lastly is microvascular dysfunction. which is where small blood vessels in the body are damaged or they're not functioning properly. The study found evidence of microvascular dysfunction in some patients with long COVID, and they think that they might specifically contribute to the symptoms such as shortness of breath and fatigue. Next slide, please. Because long COVID is a fairly new health condition, there's still quite limited research out there. It is ongoing and hopefully provide us with some more up-to-date medical and wellbeing information in the coming months and years. But I just wanted to include a few snippets of information from some of the more recent studies that talked directly to people with lived experience of long COVID. So firstly, estimated that there's 65 million people worldwide that meet the diagnostic criteria for long COVID. There's identified over 200 symptoms, which include impacts on multiple organ systems, the autonomic nervous system resulting in dysfunction, as well as evidence of vascular and clotting abnormalities in the blood. They've also found that many patients experience dismissal of their long COVID symptoms, leading to extensive diagnostic journeys, often involving engagement with multiple health providers and advocates. When the patients do finally get the long COVID diagnosis, they then find that their treatment options are extremely limited and often only involve sort of self-management strategies such as pacing or nutritional management with limited support from medical teams. These experiences are pretty much opposite to the most effective responses for managing long COVID, which includes holistic assessment, early diagnosis, supportive care from health practitioners. Information about how primary health services can support people with long COVID can be found in the Community Health Pathways database. We also have a number of resources that we can send out about supporting people with long COVID as well. Next slide, please, Natalie. Thank you. So the Ministry of Health has recently released the clinical rehabilitation guideline for people with long COVID in Aotearoa. This framework involves a number of pathways for referral, often depending on the severity of the presenting illness. So at the first stage, patients are referred for personalised community-based support, which includes support for those self-management strategies I mentioned earlier. GPs will ideally support with personalised management plans, access to resources that allow for people and their whānau to learn to manage their symptoms, referrals to community-based organisations such as us, and adaptation plans when needed for either support at home or returning to work programs. If a patient's illness is more severe, the second stage sort of kicks in with a suggested referral to long COVID multidisciplinary teams, and these can be either hospital or community-based. This support is supposed to include a personalised holistic assessment and management plan, as well as referral to appropriate advice, rehabilitation, mental wellbeing support services. The Ministry of Health also recommends that with their management plan, this often comes under that new health coach role at GPs. But realistically, what we're currently seeing at this step is sort of a referral to a lot of individual providers for rehabilitational support and not a lot of communication between those providers. If required, patients are then also referred to specialists for symptom-specific management. For example, we find many people are referred to cardiologists to support with dysautonomias or POTS symptoms, or gastroenterologists for support with food and digestion issues associated with their long COVID. I've put the link to the rehabilitation guide in there. I'd really encourage you to take a look at the guidelines yourself. There's a lot of really good information in there about, you know, potential rehabilitation referrals that can be made, and also a number of self-management strategies. Next slide, please, Natalie. So a little bit about our new long COVID support tool. Our free online support tool was released about a month ago, and it includes a series of videos with downloadable information for everybody who has or thinks that they might have long COVID. It's also really useful for people who have other post-viral illnesses like ME/CFS. If someone has already been diagnosed with long COVID, our videos can support with further understanding the illness, as well as information around self-management, symptom tracking, working with health providers and other community support services, which may be helpful in improving quality of life. If someone has not yet been diagnosed, our tool can also help them review their symptoms, learn more about how to discuss these with their doctors or health providers, and just give them some ideas about next steps moving forward. The tool contains interviews from Aotearoa's leading post-viral illness experts that Natalie mentioned earlier, including Dr. Anna Brooks from the University of Auckland and Professor Warren Tate of the University of Otago. We also have a number of included interviews from people with lived experience of long COVID and other post-viral illnesses, which we think is a really valuable contribution to these videos. Each video covers a different topic. They range from about 10 to 35 minutes in length. We have provided the audio files for each of the videos as well as transcripts to make these as accessible as possible. And in the coming months, we plan to release the full interviews with the experts and those with lived experience, which might offer more perspectives and more information on some of the recent research. The tool can be easily accessed through our website, or you can get in touch with us for more specific information. There's quite a lot of topics covered there, so if you're looking for anything specific, just reach out to us and we can point you in the right direction. Next slide, please, Natalie. I've included some of the references we've used in this presentation, as well as some interesting further reading for anybody who wants to learn more. We also have a number of resources available in our own database, so if you're looking for any information, please get in touch with us and we can send that out to you. Next slide. Yeah, so that's the presentation today. Just wanted to say thank you again to Waitakere Health Link for having us, as well as to everybody who's listened to the presentation. There's our contact details, and I will email the presentation to Waitakere Health Link, and if anyone's interested, they're welcome to reach out for that. And yeah, I think we have some time for some questions, so I'll hand back over to Natalie.
Okay, so Natalie, I'll just did you want to sum up before we do questions? Because I think it would be good if we just had people to put their questions in the sidebar.
Yeah.
Because we've got other things coming up, and it's very easy with a very interesting topic like this to get us all carried away, and then we eat into that other time. But did you want to sum up, or shall I just ask people to put questions in the sidebar? I've already got one.
Sure, I think let's just go straight to questions, if that's okay.
Great. So, and if you can just, okay, so the first question is from Judy Blakely. And sorry, just because you've got your screen sharing, it makes it a bit tricky. Now,
I wonder if I should just take that off. Would that be
that'd
helpful?
be great. All right. So, Judy has a question, and because she's got links to lots of academic information and contacts, and yeah, all right, she said, have you had any contact with the Goodfellow unit a webinar presentation for primary care clinicians? And then I'm assuming that's around long COVID.
To date, there's been a lot of upskilling. Well, in terms of long COVID interactions, our managers has spoken on the long COVID symposium. But in terms of the Goodfellow, I think not our organisation, but Dr. Kathy Stevenson from Wellington had spoken. I think it was the Goodfellow unit, and she did a presentation about a year ago on ME/CFS and diagnosing. But in terms of long COVID, no, we haven't done a presentation for Goodfellow, but I think would be interested in doing that if there was an interest for us to do so. Yeah, just a matter of we'd probably love to get the word out if we had a connection there. I don't know if anyone here has a contact, perhaps someone we could touch base with at Goodfellow. But yeah, did you have anything to add to that, Maddie?
No. Okay, so lots of people saying that it's excellent info. Thanks, super helpful. And the next question from Trish at Hospice is, are there any particular ages or range of ages that seem to be more susceptible to long COVID?
Maddie might be better to answer that question. Definitely predominantly female, but we certainly see males with the illness. But I'll hand over to Maddie for this one.
I would say no particular age range. It's our membership has been very wide in terms of age range. We get young people, we get older adults, we get people at all stages of life. But yeah, I would say probably more predominantly women, if any.
What about ethnicity, Maddie? Are there kind of higher prevalences in some ethnic groups?
I believe that Mona Jeffries recently did a study on this, and I think it seemed that it was higher in Māori and Pacifica groups that were getting diagnosed with long COVID.
All right, thank you. I don't see any further questions, so I'm going to thank you, Natalie and Maddie from ME. That's really helpful, and I think if anybody, especially our health professionals, but I think our GPs, that some of them will be inundated with stuff, always getting new information, and this is another lot of information for them. So if anybody wants to share that with their GP practices too, that'll be really helpful. So thank you so much. That's been really very topical, very helpful, because this touches everybody in our community, and all of you are working with lots of people in our community. So that just goes to the back of your mind to know where you can get help. Thank you so much. So we are running a bit early, so we're about 8 minutes early, but it's good to see that now we're going to have general updates. Now, is Paula Seymour here yet? If not, we've got Erica Fairbank, our patient experience from Waitamata, part of Te Whatu Ora. So she's going to talk about the community support brochure. So Erica.
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Hi, Erica.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
I have only a small update. So when I spoke last, we are about to finish the leaflet, and I still got really great emails from people to adjust whatever was in the leaflet from their organization. So this is the community leaflet with lots of NGOs in there that we would like to pass on to the health professionals once it's done. Sadly, it has stalled a little bit because we want to have a designer involved. Now we've finalized the leaflet, and that's where it stalled. So one designer didn't get the contract continued in Waitamata, so that's a bit tricky. And the other designer never responded to any of my emails. So I have decided to do it myself. Otherwise, we'll be here till Christmas. I can show you briefly where we're at. So I'm sort of finalizing it. So I guess if we have 2 or 3 more weeks, then I'll be able to print it out and finally distribute it. So this leaflet will be printed out, given to patients going to clinics. So I'll spend a lot of time talking to health professionals about it. There's other people that want it outside of the organization, like libraries. But yeah, as I said, I'm not quite finished yet. What we also want to do is put it online. So we have to put it on the website from Waitamata. But I leave it in an open form. So if more organizations come to me and they still want to be part of the information, the leaflet, they can contact me, because I'll keep it open. I can obviously put it still in there. Let me see if I can share this. I just have to make myself look a bit larger. Actually, am I able to share? Have I got permission to share something? Yeah. It doesn't matter if I can't. Yeah, okay.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I only okay. Share screen. There we go. Can anyone see this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that looks great.
So it looks a lot better than it did prior. I'm not done yet. You can see there's a few small things I need to adjust. And I obviously needed to put some time into actually design the leaflet myself. That's probably not the normal way to do things, but you know, if you just hold up by the designer, you have to put things in your own hands, I guess. So bear with me, I'm nearly there. Thank you for giving me time to share this.
No, that's great, Erica. And I think the thing is that sometimes things take a while because it's sort of been a bit designed partially by the community too, which has been
That's right,
wonderful
yeah.
to have your feet, you know, to be able to put that feedback in, and I think we pretty much represented nearly everybody there. And I think this is going to be a great resource. And also even just for health professionals as well to go, "Oh, is there anything? Oh, look, here's something for you." Because our GPs are pretty inundated at the moment, and to have something like that that is a quick reference, or even their practice nurses or even their receptionists. I'm going to speak from a little bit of experience now because my daughter is now a medical receptionist, so I'm hearing all about the pressures, and she has to sleep the whole weekend to recover. But I think, yeah, so this is fantastic. Thank you so much, Erica, and we look forward to seeing the final product, and thanks for your work on that. Now, oh, we've got another little chat here. No, that's all right. Someone's saying hi to Erica. That's lovely. So what we've got next, Paula's not here yet. I don't think so. We've got our wonderful Tim Edmonds from the Well Foundation, who has not left there yet, by the look of it. But we're going to, he's going to update us on the primary birthing unit, which is great to see another new facility for West Auckland. Thank you, Tim.
Well, thank you, Linda, and kia ora koutou, and apologies for the mute fail previously, if that came through.
Fine, right. We're all family.
Yes, so previously in this forum, and sorry, a little bit of context for everybody. So we are the official charity that works with Waitakere, as it was as a DHB, but now across Waitakere under Te Whatu Ora, so North Shore, but obviously particular focus on Waitakere Hospital and West Auckland Health Services. And I've updated previously in this forum about the primary birthing unit, and it's a project and a commitment to the community that has been long-standing. I think it's now about 7 years since it was first consulted on and announced. But the complication had come because the approval was based on a funding model that wasn't directly funded under what they call the health capital envelope. It was funded through our involvement and working with social investors to make that happen, because it cost $12 million and it was very difficult to find that funding amongst all the other priorities. And so the brief blurb on the unit itself, it will have 6 birthing suites. It addresses this challenge we have as a community around the availability of non-hospital birthing options in urban West Auckland. So this challenge that actually mothers are reluctant sometimes to make use of the facilities we have at a primary birthing unit because of their distance away from Waitakere Hospital, whereas actually the model here is for this to be built actually on the campus of Waitakere Hospital, but for it to still retain all of the look and feel of a more homely primary birthing environment, midwife-led, but offers that comfort of it being immediately close to the hospital. So this, there's been some challenges on the approval pathway, particularly because of the current transition period we're in, where we're moving obviously from the DHB structures and that all coming together under Te Whatu Ora. That meant that the decisions about actually making this final and approvals to proceed weren't made locally. They've been put forward through to national Te Whatu Ora for decision making. What is unique about this project, and the term shovel-ready gets overused, but this is the most shovel-ready project you will ever get. It's full design completed at a capital level. We've engaged all of the procurement side of the main contractor. If this was approved, it would come to life within a matter of months. And the construction timeframe on it is between 12 and 14 months. So very quickly, this would be available to our community, which is exciting. And if you'd asked me last week about how things were going on the approval side of things, there were some challenges with our funding model in terms of it fitting within policy guidelines. But actually, we've had a wee mini breakthrough this in the last 10 days to 2 weeks, where this is now going forward to Te Whatu Ora for consideration in June. And it's not going forward within a social investor model. It's actually going forward for it to be considered under traditional health capital envelope funding for the full $12 million. Now, obviously, with this many people tuning into this, I'm being careful. There's no guarantees. We don't know what the outcome will be, but there's definitely positive steps towards this being funded for our community, and we will know more next month. So I'm looking forward to reporting back on that. It may not be as smooth sailing as I've indicated, but I'll keep you posted. But it is a really exciting development, something there isn't a lot of awareness about in the community, but you'll start to hear more hopefully in the coming weeks and months.
Thank you, Tim. It's great to get that update as we move towards, you know, being a bigger and better hospital, more able to meet our community's needs. So that's exciting. And we do have quite a high birth rate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and my daughter's going to add to that in October. Yay. So, new Glen Eden resident coming up. So, right. So thank you very much, Tim. Now, I'm not sure if Paula's here yet. She hasn't at the moment, but okay. So what I'll do then, I'm just going to let Judy Blakey had a little announcement for a webinar. So Judy, if you can just do that quickly and then pop any link in the meeting chat, that'd be great, Judy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is the New Zealand Association of Gerontology, or NZAG, has arranged a free webinar over lunchtime, 12 to 1 on the 18th of May. And the webinar is looking at AI, artificial intelligence, and older people. It's to introduce people to what AI is. We have Dr. Kevin Ross speaking about what AI is from Precision Driven Health. We have Dr. Daniel Wilson talking about the data governance, the ethics of AI from a Maddie perspective as well. He works in the computer science department at Auckland University. And we have Dr. Amanda Williamson from Deloitte, who's going to talk about applications that are actually of AI used to help with the well-being of older people. And we've got the Professor of Aging, Nairi Kurth, who's going to communicate in a discussion. So hopefully you should emerge an hour later quite knowledgeable about the risks and opportunities. So thank you so much for that. And you have to register to attend. I'll pop that in the link. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
All right. So just not sure. Paula not here yet.
She probably she not replied.
So it looks like we might not get that update, unfortunately, but we'll make sure we have it next time, because there are the Waitakere Health Link board had a bit of an update at our last meeting, and that was really good to see. So just to say things are progressing, which is great, and I think she wouldn't mind sharing that, you know, a new ward and the plans and the actions towards the high dependency or ICU are still going ahead, which is good, because without that we can't have a full service hospital. So that was really great to hear, because that's one of the really important things that we had been advocating for, and also in our petition. So what I'll do, we're going to finish early. I've got a couple of messages from our wonderful coordinator, Tracy. One is just to remind you as NGOs, if you have any information you want in our newsletter for the June newsletter, just send that as soon as possible. And the other thing is we have a great NGO library on our website, which means that anybody can go in and hear what you do. You don't have to make your own video. We can clip them out of here. But we just need your permission to do that. So if you want us to put that on our website, just let Tracy know. You've all got her email. Or if you want to make your own super duper video, send it to Tracy and we can upload it, because it's just a really good resource for anybody to go in and know what you do. So I wanted to thank all of you for spending, giving your time, but also the time that you spend with our community, because It's all about keeping us healthy in mind and body. And that's what you do. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to close with a little whakatauki, which says, let your peace reign on all the people of the world, which is kia tau tō rangimārie, ki runga ina iwi o te ao. Kia ora, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Keep warm. It's going to be a cold snap, and keep dry. Mā te wā.